Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards. Mark Mason.
Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
That's right, my friends. Welcome to this 609th episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. I am super excited to be here with you today, and today I'm going to give you yet one more glimpse into what those who are subscribed to the Audio Journal podcast get to experience on an ongoing, regular, consistent basis. One of those behind the scenes. I mean, and we're going to go way behind the scenes. We're going to go very in depth into what's going on as far as the thoughts that go through my mind when it comes to how am I approaching my business, my work that I do, how do I balance that between my personal life, my health and fitness, and all that other stuff. What thoughts are going through my head related to the financial pressures that may be mounting from a daughter who's at college and other random things that just pop up that are unexpected. You know those unexpected things that come up, right? And then not only do I share all of those thoughts, but also what actions am I going to be taking to move towards my dreams, my goals, the things I want to be a part of my life. I share all of those thoughts, I share all of those decisions, and then I share with you what actions am I going to take, excusez-moi, what actions am I going to take based upon those decisions that I've made. And then not only do I share what actions am I going to take, I then tell people in the audio journal, I share with them consistently what actions I'm going to take, what I intend to do. And then I share with them follow-ups. I come back and I say, hey, remember when I told you I was going to do this? Well, here's how that turned out. And here's what I'm thinking. These are the successes that I've had. Here's where I kind of, this failed to meet my expectations. Here's what I'm thinking about all of that. These are the kinds of things I'm sharing almost on a daily basis. I mean, it's certainly a minimum of one episode per week, but man, do the folks on the Audio Journal, they get a ton of this. By the way, the Audio Journal, for those of you who don't know, it is a private, personal podcast that I do where I share all of this behind-the-scenes stuff on an ongoing, consistent, regular basis, and I offer it only to those who really want that much content from me, because it's a lot of content. But it's only for those who are really genuinely interested in all of that personal detail, the really in-depth insights about how I'm building my business one day at a time, one relationship at a time. And it is only for those who subscribe via Patreon. Patreon is an awesome service out there that helps creators get paid for the work that they do. And I get paid for the work that I do in a lot of other ways. But certainly I do love the fact that there are some people that says, Cliff, I'd love to have this information and I'd be willing to pay $10 a month. In fact, you have to pay a minimum of $10 a month to be able to have access to the Audio Journal podcast. But there are many people who say, Cliff, this is so valuable. I can't allow you to let me have all of this for only $10 a month. And there are several Audio Journal subscribers that even though the minimum pledge is $10 a month to have access to this, I've got a couple people who are paying $20 a month, $30 a month, and some even more. So if you want to learn more how you can get this content on a consistent basis, you can find that at mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal. You can get this kind of content that you're about ready to hear all the time. All right. Now, with that being out of the way, you're going to hear some stuff that I've been working on lately, and I want to catch those of you who are watching vlog episodes. By the way, for those of you listening to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, this episode, what I'm about ready to share with you, was going to be episode 81 of the Audio Journal. But as I was outlining this, and I hardly ever outline episodes of the audio journal. I do from time to time, but there's been so much I want to share. So many things, behind the scenes stuff that I desperately want to make sure that those who are interested get this information. I mean, if I could have had access to the information here that I provide in the audio journal, man, where would my business efforts be today if I really got to hear the inside scoop on exactly what kind of actions are being taken and what's working, what's not working, and all that stuff. So I was putting all this stuff together, and it's like, man, there's been a lot that's been going on since July 1st, and I want to share all of this. And I also want to be able to put out 2 episodes a week of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. This is technically one of my bonus-odes. That's the first time I've actually even thought of that phrase, and in saying that out loud, that actually sounded funny. Bonus-ode. But it is a bonus episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. I typically don't have this. I'm not a fan of putting out more than 1 podcast episode per week in a podcast feed, but I've made an exception in this case because, well, there's only a few weeks between now and Free the Dream. And you guys listening to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, and by the way, I'm talking to 3 different audiences, and I'll make that clear in just a moment. But those of you listening to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, you are the largest concentration of my community. You are where thousands of you are listening and hearing every single syllable of every word that I speak every week in a podcast episode. And many of you have been doing that for more than 600 episodes. There are thousands of you who are listening to me via the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. And to be able to reach all of you, or at least those of you who would be willing to put up with 2 episodes per week for the next several weeks between now and Free the Dream Conference, to be able to have this opportunity to connect with you and share with you the value of Free the Dream Conference and all the other stuff that I believe that, I'm not going to pass up this opportunity. So I made that exception. So I'm speaking to you here in a bonus-ode. Am I going to use that phrase? I don't know. Anyway, so here I am in a bonus-ode. This is also episode 81 of the audio journal. And I'm also recording video of me recording this in my next level studio. And so while I'm talking to you guys in audio, I am staring at the camera, looking at the people who are watching me right now. Believe it or not, I'm speaking to you guys. I'm not publishing this live. I have no live internet audience. I could have gone live on YouTube. I could have gone live on Facebook, but I'm not. I'm recording for every one of you, all 3 audiences, the audio journal, the vlog, the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. I'm recording this for all of you, knowing that you're going to watch this or listen to this later. So with that being said, I am speaking to 3 different audiences, and I wanted to let you know that for some reason. All right, so with that being said, and all of that out of the way, let me just catch you up to date for what's been going on. So in the audio journal, the folks who are subscribed to that podcast, they know that there's been a ton of content that's been coming out. There's been, I think yesterday, I published 4 episodes of the audio journal. Today, this will be my 2nd episode of the audio journal that I will publish today, which, by the way, I'm recording this on Saturday, July 13th it's currently 12:22 in the afternoon. And there's been a lot of content in the audio journal. However, as far as a personal behind the scenes update, because there's lots of different kinds of updates, there's all kinds of content I put into the audio journal. They really haven't heard a behind the scenes episode like you're hearing right now or watching if you're on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else I syndicated this online. This kind of content I have not done since July 1st. Monday, July 1st. And so what I did is I actually recorded, Stephanie and I had what we called an emergency income meeting or something like that. And we were talking about the fact that, hey, we've got Free the Dream, we're marketing this. All of our marketing efforts have been over there. Here's what we're getting ready to do accounting, and here's where we are financially as far as income for the month. And we certainly are in the okay territory, but quite frankly, there's some decisions here that need to be made about what am I going to do over the next couple of weeks to make sure that financially we don't end up with a situation like we did last year at this time, where last year I had, well, first of all, Free the Dream 2018 last year, I had no idea what it took to market a conference like Free the Dream. It was a brand new thing. I literally didn't know what I didn't know. Thankfully, I had some great friends. My friend Michael Stelzner from Social Media Examiner, he has this amazing, very successful conference called Social Media Marketing World. He's my close personal friend. He's in my weekly Green Room Mastermind. He has been a saint when it comes to helping me understand how to be more effective in my marketing. And the amount of tips and advice that I've received from him have produced amazing results, but still, it took a while for me to really catch on to some of the stuff that he's been teaching me. And then some of my other friends who had some experience before me doing events, like my friend Ray Edwards, who had already done some events. And then my friends Dan Franks from Podcast Movement. And then my friend PT Money from the FinCon conference. My friend Michael Hyatt from his platform conference and all the events that he does. And my friend Dan Miller. So I've had the ability to tap into some people. And so I knew that I had the resources available to me to figure out how to market an event. Because I feel this calling in my life to pursue events that will be transformative in the lives of the people who attend. And I even have this vision, this crazy dream that one day I will be hosting events in stadiums where tens of thousands of people will come to attend an event like Free the Dream. I know it sounds crazy. It still sounds a little crazy to me. And I'm still working on developing and growing in my mindset, in my belief system. But nothing is holding me back from pursuing that dream. I have lots of fears, but I am turning those fears into excitement, and I am pursuing it with everything that I have. So the thing is Stephanie and I recorded episode 72 of the audio journal together. Those of you who listen to the audio journal, you know all the things that I shared that I was going to do as it relates to making not only making Free the Dream a success this year, and for me, a success for Free the Dream is no less than 300 human beings in Franklin, Tennessee, whose lives are radically transformed by the message and the experience of Free the Dream 2019. That's what I'm going after. Now, the thing is there's a lot of work that would happen. There's a lot of things that have to happen for 300 human beings to be at Free the Dream 2019. By the way, I'm going to pull this up here real quick and just tell you where we are. By the way, I give very accurate, transparent, authentic details. So as of Saturday, July 13th, there are 72 people who will be attending Free the Dream. Actually, that's not true. 73. There's an email in my inbox. Somebody just purchased another VIP ticket. So we're at 73 people who will be attending Free the Dream conference. And I'm expecting Free the Dream to cost right around $60,000 this year. Free the Dream is currently, I don't like to do live math. We're in the spreadsheet before the VIP ticket. That's actually, let me just go ahead and put in here. I know it's going to be, that person just paid $14.99. And so we're at $43,858 in ticket sales. So 43,000. So we're almost at 44,000. I am $6,000 in ticket sales away from breaking even on the conference this year, which is good because last year we did not break even. We did not make a profit. But this isn't about profit. And those of you who listen to the audio journal, and if any of you really know who I am, you know that Free the Dream wasn't a profit-driven goal or dream of mine. In fact, it's a major financial risk to pull off what I feel God has most called me to do in this world. So with that being said, success for me is 300 people at this event, and I'm going to trust that I will do whatever it takes within that to not only see that dream, that goal of 300 human beings in Franklin, Tennessee for Free the Dream 2019 transformed that weekend. I'm doing everything within my power to do what I can to make sure that that's a possibility. All right. And then I'm also trusting that just because I know what my standards are in life and what my financial minimums are, that I will either make sure that Free the Dream is as profitable as necessary to make sure that we never drop below what we need financially for our family, personally, and also for how we feel like we need to show up in the world to contribute to others. So I've got actions, and that's what I did in episode 72. I said, here are the things that we're doing, and this is why we're doing these decisions. This is why we're going to focus on the things we're focused on, and this is why we're going to say no to things that came up. For example, I had an opportunity in episode 72 that I talked to Stephanie about. It was an opportunity to make $15,000 in one weekend. And I said no to it. And the reason why I said no to it, I shared in episode 72 of the Audio Journal. And if you are interested in becoming a Audio Journal subscriber and you want to know what the $15,000 opportunity was that I said no to, then go to mindsetanswerman.com/audiojournal. It's $10 a month to subscribe to that, and then go back into the archives. By the way, if you're a Patreon Audio Journal subscriber, just so you know this, if you subscribe to my tier at Patreon, there's a video immediately after you sign up. You get a thank you video from me, and I give you step-by-step instructions on how you can get the Audio Journal podcast inside of your favorite podcasting app, whether that's the Apple Podcasts app, Pocket Casts, Overcasts, whatever your podcast app of choice is, as long as they allow you to add a podcast by URL, which, by the way, all of the ones I just mentioned will allow you to do that, then you can add the Audio Journal, and it will be delivered to your podcast app right alongside your other podcasts. And for those of you who maybe don't use the standard typical podcast apps and you can't do that, you can just get the Patreon app, and it will notify you every time I publish a new episode, and you can listen to it right there. Anyway, episode 72 is where I talk about that. So now, with all of that out of the way, what I'm going to do in this episode, and I created a very lengthy episode or outline here today about all the things that I said I was going to do in episode 72, and that was on July 1st. And today, it's July 13th. I want to give you an account as to what did I actually do. How did those things work? And what am I going to do moving forward based upon the evaluation of these projects? So, first of all, in episode 72, here's what I committed to. Daily basis. I will create a minimum of one video per day, each day, with a Free the Dream call to action in it. I will limit each of these videos to 10 minutes each. And the 10-minute limit each was so that I can easily publish it to YouTube, which there's no time limit. I can easily publish it to Facebook, which there's no time limit. And by the way, by publishing to Facebook means that I'm publishing it to my public figure page, so my Facebook page, sharing that video then to my personal profile, and potentially sharing it into a couple of the Facebook groups that I facilitate. So, and then, of course, 10-minute limit allows me to also publish that content to IGTV. A 10-minute limit also allows me to publish that content to LinkedIn, all natively, all uploaded directly into each of those platforms individually. And then, of course, I can take the YouTube link and share that out to Twitter. Okay, so that's something I had said I was going to do on a daily basis. Another thing that I said I was going to do on a daily basis is that I would actually commit myself to having one phone call per day, each day, with a prospect. Now, typically that prospect would be for Free the Dream, or it would be a prospect for one of my next level mastermind groups, or a prospect for one of my one-on-one mentoring opportunities, which is known as Day with Cliff package. Okay, so if anybody reaches out to me and says, Cliff, I'm really on the fence about joining Free the Dream, just like, well, this married couple that just recently reached out to me, and they said, Cliff, we heard about you on an interview you did with Sarah Anna Powers, and was so inspired by that. We heard about your Free the Dream message. We went to your sales page, just got a couple questions for you. Would you? And I'm like, hey, can we jump on a phone call? And we scheduled a phone call, spent an hour with them, They already had within that 1 hour, they already had a major, massive mindset shift that helped them see things from a completely different perspective. And they're like, okay, we're coming to Free the Dream. And I knew that I could offer that. And so if somebody says, Cliff, I'm on the fence about Free the Dream, I'd love to ask you a question. Well, I'm committed. I will allow myself to have one-on-one phone conversation per day for anybody who's seriously considering coming to Free the Dream, but they really just want to ask me a question before they make that final decision. By the way, if you want to have one of those opportunities with me, and I'm not looking for tire kickers. I'm only looking to have these conversations with people who are really, you've been on the sales page at least one time for more than 5 minutes. Maybe you've been on the sales page 2 or 3 different times for Free the Dream, but you haven't pulled that trigger. You've maybe even checked your hotel prices. You've checked the airline tickets. You've kind of done some research, but you just haven't. There's just something that's holding you back. If that's you and you want to have a one-on-one phone call with me, I'm having one of these per day, every day, well, between now and September 13th. So if you would like to have that with me and you fit that description, email me Cliff Ravenscraft. It's actually cliff@cliffravenscraft.com and put phone conversation in the subject line. Phone conversation in the subject line. I will have one of those calls per day. And by the way, it's also available to you if you've been thinking about the Next Level Mastermind for the last couple days, weeks, months, or maybe for the last 2 years since I started the Next Level Mastermind. If you've been on the fence about the Next Level Mastermind and you want to talk about it, for example, somebody just reached out to me and says, Cliff, I've been thinking about the Next Level Mastermind, and man, I'm so ready to join. The only thing is I'm just not there income-wise yet. I've had this side business, and the thing is within the past year, it's only generated $3,000 in income. And I'm like, dude, let's click here to schedule a call with me, a 1 hour. I will give you a complimentary 1 hour one-on-one mentoring session. There's no reason you should be able to get to 3 to 6K per month, maybe even 10K per month within the next 90 days. There's nothing that should hold you back. And I know that there's things that are holding you back from doing that. And I believe in a 1 hour session, we can get you over that hurdle. I've done this for countless number of people. Click here to schedule. We're working out that, and you'll hear about that later on in the outline here that I have for this episode. So the other one is if you've heard about the Day with Cliff, I'll get to the Day with Cliff later. Anyway, I'm serious. No tire kickers. I don't have time to talk to tire kickers. This is kind of like, this is a great opportunity for me to talk to Cliff. You know what? I will have opportunities to talk with you, and I would love to have one-on-one phone calls with people within my community, and I often do. And you'll hear about Free the Dream Zoom calls and other things that I've got going on where there are opportunities like that. But between now and September 15th, these calls, my time is you're here. I've got a lot going on between now and September 15th, and so I do desperately want to have one phone call per day, every day between now and September 12th, actually, because September 13th, I'm going to be busy. But I want to have one phone call per day with somebody who meets the description of what I just mentioned. So if that's you, email me. Phone conversation in the subject line, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. So those are the things that I said that I would do every day. Oh, and I would also said I would reach out to and do 10 personalized video invitations going out to people who I know who are in my community that I know that Free the Dream would radically transform their lives. Quite simply put, I will send out 10 personalized video invitations per day, every day. That's what I said I would do in episode 72. And then I also said that I would deliver an email newsletter every Monday, which I've been doing for a while anyway, but I kind of lost my focus on creating some new content for those who have been on my email newsletter list for the past couple years. I'm going to be back on Monday mornings for those of you who are all caught up to date. Those of you who have signed up for my email newsletter, let's just say within the last 6 months, you've actually been continuing to get those every Monday morning. I'm committed that I'm going to make sure there's fresh new content between now and Free the Dream for everyone on my mailing list on Monday mornings between now and Free the Dream. And then I've committed that for those who are on my mailing list that have not signed up for Free the Dream 2019, I will send out, I intend to send out a broadcast message every Friday to everybody on my list who has not purchased a ticket to Free the Dream. And I'll get more into that when I talk about what I intend to do between now and at the end of this episode. I tend to evaluate my Facebook ads and optimize them, and maybe change them up and switch them around depending on the results I'm getting. I plan to evaluate that every Tuesday and Thursday, and I think I actually may change that to Mondays. And I should explain that to you probably a little bit more when I talk to you about my Monday morning calls with my friend Mark Mason. All right. Let's see here. And then I will publish an episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show every Friday on schedule like normal, but I also will do these bonus episodes hopefully every Tuesday. That's what I intend to do. And then on a weekly basis, here's the big one. I will perform a minimum of 4 podcast interviews per week. This isn't podcast interviews for my show. I will show up as a guest on other people's podcasts, a minimum of 4 of them every week through the end of August, with the exception of 1 week, because I'll be traveling that week. But anyway, a minimum of 4 every week, and I will tell you about how that's been going. So that was my commitment. Those were the commitments that I made, and now I want to share with you a little bit about how things have gone. What has been going on since that episode 72 of the Audio Journal? What's been going on since July 1st? And one of the things that I will tell you is my Monday morning calls with Mark Mason. So Mark Mason is a close personal friend of mine. He's been a member of the Green Room Mastermind for years. And we have scheduled a call at 10 o'clock in the morning every Monday morning, which, by the way, Mark, there was one interview that I had to schedule that couldn't do it during my other time blocks, and it was somebody who has a massive audience, and there's no way I could pass up the opportunity. So, Mark, I'm going to reach out to you and let you know that there's one Monday in the next couple of weeks where I either need to see if we can schedule it for after that interview or maybe just skip that week. But anyway, I'll get in touch with you, Mark. So anyway, Mark has said, Cliff, I'm here for you. I want to help serve you in any way I can. How can I help? What if I just jumped on a call with you every Monday and we just block out an hour at the beginning of every week and you just tell me accountability. Did you do the things that you said you were going to do the last time we talked? Let's jump into your Facebook ad platform. Let's see if there's anything we can see to evaluate that and all those other things. And so Mark's been very much on the realm of let me do anything I can to serve you. I want to help you achieve that success of having 300 people's lives transformed at Free the Dream. So I'm doing that, have been doing that since Monday, July 1st, and that will continue. My friend Mike Stelzner, by the way, he said, Cliff, here's the deal. You have my text number. I want to tell you, as long as I am not on a scheduled call, which I don't do a ton of scheduled calls, but as long as I'm not on a scheduled call, you text me night or day, any day of the week, 7 days of the week. I am on call. I am available. If you have any questions about Google Analytics, questions about anything related to marketing your event, any questions about, how to achieve, a special offer or anything like that for your event, I am at your disposal. I believe in what God has called you to do, and I am here for you. So I have direct, unlimited access to my great friend Michael Stelzner, who, by the way, successfully sells thousands and thousands and thousands of tickets to his conference that's held at the San Diego Convention Center. So thank you, Michael Stelzner. Thank you, Mark Mason. And thank you to everyone else who is helping me. And by the way, this isn't about me achieving my dream. This literally is thank you to all of you for helping the hundreds of people who will be at Free the Dream 2019 and beyond getting this message out. So anyway, I had my call with Mark Mason. He's like, listen, Cliff, I know you're getting ready to go on vacation with the family. I'm going to take a drink here for a second. I'm not going to edit any of this out. All right, there we go. So I know that you are going to go on vacation down to the Smoky Mountains with your family for the 4th of July. I want to encourage you don't wait on these commitments until you get back. You're running out of time, and that's something that Michael Stelzner brought up to me. He's like, he got on a call with me just before, on like June 30th. I can recall it. I recall it vividly because I had that $15,000 workshop opportunity presented to me. And I said, what do you guys think about this? I reached out to my Green Room Mastermind, and Michael says, hey, you got time for a call? And I said, yeah. And he got on the call and he says, Cliff, how many weeks are there until Free the Dream? And I'd never even once thought to ask myself how many weeks there were. I knew how many months there were. And I asked my Amazon device, and I said, yo, you know who? How many weeks are there until? And what's her name said there are 11 weeks until Free the Dream. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And that it became clear that's why I needed to turn down this $15,000 offer for a workshop. And so, yeah, I turned that down, and I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Anyway, so Michael Stelzner, thank you. Anyway, so Mark says, you're going on vacation. Don't wait. Start today on all these commitments. And so here's the breakdown. I made a list of all the things that I've done since July 1st. So July 1st was a Monday. I had my call with Mark Mason. I did send out 11 personal video invitations using BombBomb. By the way, there's a lot of different services out there you could use for sending out personalized video messages. There are major reasons why I choose to pay. I think it's like $480 a year for BombBomb when I could do it for free using Loom or 10 other different services out there. But there's nothing that compares to the animated GIFs that show up using BombBomb. If you decide to use BombBomb and this technique of reaching out to people with personal videos for the stuff that you're doing, I have an affiliate code. It's mindsetanswerman.com/BombBomb. That's BOMB, mindsetanswerman.com/BombBomb. I do get a pretty generous commission if you decide to use their service using my link before you sign up. So go to mindsetanswerman.com/BombBomb if you're interested. And of course, you pay the same price whether you sign up without using my link or signing up with my link. If you're not going to use BombBomb, however, to pay for it, then you can still use these techniques of personal video invitations via Loom or any of those other services out there. But if you have the financial resources to do it, BombBomb's awesome. All right. So anyway, I sent out on Monday, July 1st, I sent out 11 personal invitations. Get this. It immediately generated 4 ticket sales for Free the Dream. Now, granted, I started with people who are at the highest. I know these people are likely to come to Free the Dream, but I can't imagine why they haven't yet signed up yet. You know, they just needed that nudge, if you will. So it immediately, like the same day, I'm telling you, within 24 hours of sending the video, 4 ticket sales of Free the Dream. All right. And then also 2 more ticket sales are pending since July 1st, and their ticket sales. So 2 more. It's like they're guaranteed. They're going to happen. They're just working out the details, and they will be signing up. So that's something that has been committed, and I even have follow-ups for those 2. And then let's see here. So basically, those 11 personal incomes netted 6 ticket sales. That was a pretty good use of my time for that Monday, July 1st. I also did a 90-minute one-on-one mentoring session with somebody who was struggling in a specific area to think about some new ways to approach some things that they're doing in their business. I offered a complimentary one-on-one mentoring session with me. This is somebody who quite clearly could very much likely benefit from being a member of the Next Level Mastermind. And I would say there's about an 85 to 90% chance that 90-minute session that I gave to this individual will likely end up being a member of the Next Level Mastermind within the next 3 to 6 months, potentially as early as, next week. It could be, within 6 months. Very likely to happen. And then again, that's one of those things where I told you that's that one-on-one call with a prospect. All right? July 2nd, Tuesday, here's what I did. I sent out 12 personal video invitations. 3 of those folks have either committed to purchasing a ticket soon or are trying to work out the details with the day job. One of those videos was an outreach to somebody who had applied for the Next Level Mastermind. They originally said, Cliff, I can't do, they have the day job. They're looking to leave the day job, and they're a perfect fit for what I call the Next Level Mastermind PM group. And we meet on a weekly basis. We had been meeting on Wednesdays, and this person said, Wednesdays aren't good for me. I have commitments that I've made with my church, and so if you ever have anything available on another night of the week, let me know. And so I just made a note of that. And not too long after that, by the way, somebody else applied, and he would be a perfect fit for the Next Level Mastermind. And he can't join until August because of some other commitments he has. But he's like, man, I could probably make Wednesdays work, but man, I'm going to have, my son has commitments at church on Wednesday evenings, and I kind of like the idea of driving him there and picking him up. And if I decide to do your mastermind group, which I'm willing to do on Wednesday nights, I'd miss that opportunity. And I'd had a number of people over the last 2 years who said, Cliff, if Wednesday nights are, and I know I come from a ministry background, so I know Wednesday evenings are typically program evenings for a lot of people who have church commitments. So I went to the Next Level Mastermind. This is coming up over and over again. Would you guys be willing to move to Tuesday nights? And that worked for everybody but one person, and I wasn't willing to leave one person behind. And so after going through all of that, I said, would you guys be willing to move to Thursday nights? And we worked it out. And so if this past week, was our first meeting on Thursday nights. It worked better for Stephanie because McKenna is now doing dance on Wednesday nights. And so Stephanie was doing the Next Level Mastermind PM group. Yes, my wife, Stephanie, is in that group because she's building her own business efforts. And she's very much a part of that group as well. But anyway, we moved to Thursday nights, and then the person who said that in August I'm joining, he's like, oh, that's so awesome. So he can't wait. And then I reached out to this person and I said, hey, can you do Thursday nights? He goes, yes, Thursday nights work, but I still have to work out the financial side because my business in the past years only generated $3,000. And I'm like, dude, that should not be the case. You and I need to have a chat. I promise you, schedule a 1 hour complimentary mentoring session with me. We will put an end to your 3K within a year. You should be able to hit 3K within 30 days of us talking on the phone. Let's have a Zoom call. So that's going to be scheduled. We're working out his availability for us to have that one-on-one call. All right. So that was Tuesday, July 2nd, what I did. All right, Thursday, July 3rd, Wednesday. Did I just say Thursday, July 3rd, Wednesday? I have no idea if I just said that, but if I did, I meant Wednesday, July 3rd, okay? Now, for those of you that don't know this, on Wednesday, July 3rd, I still had 4 mastermind groups that I facilitate on Wednesdays. One of my groups, by the way, the Next Level Mastermind Group 3, only meets on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. So Wednesday, July 3rd was the first Wednesday of the month, and it was the final Wednesday that the PM group of the Next Level Mastermind meets on Wednesday. So I had 4 mastermind groups that day that I facilitated, 4 mastermind calls. And by the way, these calls are like the highlight of my week. And they were incredibly awesome. So I had that going on. I did produce on Wednesday, July 3rd, episode 605 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. It was one of the bonus episodes. It was the first bonus episode, if I'm not mistaken. Episode 65 was titled "Stop Letting Yourself Down." It was the Crystal Foth story. I went ahead and published it, even though it wasn't on Tuesday. But it's like, I've got to get this thing. I want to get this thing out. I don't want to wait. And so I put it out. It's got tons of positive feedback. Thank you so much for all those who are letting me know how much this content is resonating with you. I sent a broadcast email to everybody who wasn't signed up for Free the Dream 2019 with a version of the Crystal Foth story about stop letting yourself down. And I also sent a different version of that email to those who were already registered for Free the Dream 2019. And a different version to them, not to call them to the action of, hey, please register. This is what could happen for you. But instead, it's like, hey, you're already registered. Make sure that you go out of your way to meet Crystal and let her show you her physical product that has been a dream for 6 years. She never really saw anything come to fruition until she attended Free the Dream, and you're going to actually get to see her physical product. It was so awesome. So that all happened. And then also, throughout this process, during these first 3 days, I also did that setup. I made a commitment. I told everybody, or I told the Audio Journal subscribers, I'm going to do a minimum of me as a guest on 4 podcast episodes per week of other people's shows. And so here's what I did, and I'm going to read this from my thing here. I worked out. I created a schedule inside of my Calendly program. I use Calendly. There's lots of other calendar tools that you could use for this, but Calendly is what I use. I crafted a message, and it says this. All right. And by the way, this is one that I actually sent out. I'm going to read to you word for word what I sent out to 274 people on my mailing list. I've got 4,500 people on my mailing list, but 274 of them had once clicked on a link that caused them to get the tag, I'm a podcaster. I've had a podcast for, at least 1 year. All right. And so I had 274 people who had let me know that they are podcasters. Here's the message that they got. It says, I've never been a fan of the idea of inviting myself to be a guest on someone else's podcast. With that being said, I'm going to make an exception this time. If you have a podcast that reaches an audience that has dreams of achieving higher levels of success, abundance, and love, but who often struggle to sustain the healthy behaviors and actions that lead to the life of their dreams, I'd like to make an offer. I'm working to get the word out about the Free the Dream message, which is designed to help people break free from whatever it is that is keeping them from living the life for which they were created. The most effective way that I know to get the word out about this is to be a guest on other people's podcasts. If you have an audience that you feel could benefit from the Free the Dream message, and you would be interested in having me as a guest on your podcast within the next 8 weeks, please click the link below to schedule a time that would work best for you. And then I had the link that they could click, and then it says, I look forward to the potential of connecting with you and adding tremendous value to your audience. Sincerely, Cliff. All right. I sent that message out to 274 people who I knew had been a podcaster for at least a year. I then sent a personalized version of that email to some of my friends and peers, some of the biggest influencers in the podcasting space, with a link to also schedule. And they had priority time blocking scheduled block times that general audience people didn't have access to. So I wanted to make sure those people that I personally reached out to, that there would, no matter how many people jumped on that other opportunity, this was a separate link that gave them options, so that John Lee Dumas, Amy Porterfield, Jamie, all the big influencers that I've helped over the years, they had priority scheduling. So if they wanted to schedule an interview with me, there's no way that they would not have time within the next couple of weeks. So I did that, and then I also posted a version of this to my Podcasting A to Z alumni group, which I have hundreds of people. There's almost 800 people who went through my 4-week Podcasting A to Z course, and hundreds of them are still a part of the Podcasting A to Z alumni group that I have on Facebook. And so I posted a version of this to those hundreds of people. And then I also just published this as a standard post on my personal Facebook profile, which, by the way, I have 5,000 friends and several thousand followers who follow my personal Facebook profile, most of which, believe it or not, are podcasters. And so, but that one did not just have a link. It just said, if you're interested, comment below. And then those who commented below, I then sent them a private message with the link where they could schedule. So I did all of that, and it was a major success. I am completely booked except for the final 2 weeks of August. I still have, I think, 4 more slots available in the final 2 weeks of August, and those will be filled by the end of this weekend. Here's what I will tell you. As a result of this campaign of me being a guest on all of these different podcasts, I will reach a minimum of 1 million human beings between now and the end of August with the Free the Dream message. All right? I want to say that again. I'm just looking to see how much time I've spent so far on all of this. I will reach a minimum of 1 million human beings with the message of Free the Dream between now and the end of August. And I know you're thinking, Cliff, that's ridiculous. Seriously, that's a little. I'm telling you, if I just think about some of the big time influencers that I've helped launch podcasts, and I know what their audience numbers are, I know very clearly how much their audience numbers are, and that's just my personal peer group. And then even some of the smaller podcasts that I'm going to be on, they have a few hundred subscribers each, and they're not all crossover. And I am accounting for crossover, and that's why I'm saying 1 million. But the reality is 1 million, even though for some of you to think, is Cliff really going to reach 1 million people between now and August 30, between now and the end of August with the Free the Dream message? For those of you who struggle to believe that that's a real, genuine, authentic number, not pie in the sky, Pollyanna stuff, I'm telling you, that's the minimum. That is super conservative. And I will tell you that I could be potentially reaching over 4 million people. And that's really not that out of the realm of possibility, especially knowing the shows that I'm going to be on. And by the way, it might be a stretch if I were only doing 4 podcast interviews per week, but here's what I want to share with you. I will share with you the numbers in just a moment about how this is going. But before I do, I'm still telling you what I did on July 3rd, believe it or not. I packed for my holiday trip with the family. I had planned on leaving from Thursday through Sunday to go down to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. My parents have this lake house and boat and just this beautiful thing on Lake Douglas. It is just a great place to get away and just relax and enjoy some time with the family. And I had plans to do that from Thursday, July 5th, all the way through Sunday. And I was going to just go down, unplug, and just unwind. And so I had that trip planned, but I needed to pack for that because we were going to leave after my PM session of the Next Level Mastermind so that we would be there July 4th. And so I packed for the trip on that day. I facilitated the evening session of the Next Level Mastermind, which ended at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It took us a little time for our kids to finish getting packed. I don't know why they weren't finished packing when it was time for us to leave, but we didn't leave until 10:30 in the evening. And then I drove, and I got our family rolled into town at the lake house down on Douglas Lake in Sevierville, Tennessee at 3:30 in the morning. Anyway, it was all good. It was a great time. Anyway, July 4th, what did I do? Thursday, July 4th, I slept in until past noon. I'm not kidding you, and it felt great. And I took the rest of the day off. It was July 4th. It was the 4th of July. Did not do anything related to work or anything like that. I just relaxed and enjoyed myself. Friday, July 5th, what did I do? I had a lot of enjoyment with the family, went out on a boat ride, I did a bunch of other stuff with the family. But here's what I did. I spent 4 hours that day. I recorded 30 personal video invitations, 30 of them. And the only reason it took me 4 hours that day was due to the fact that, well, quite frankly, I didn't have a great high-speed internet connection. I had to tether to my phone from my laptop, anyway. So it took 4 hours to record 30 and I make these personal. It's not like I say, "Hi, John," and then include the rest of a templated video. No, I'm telling you, "Hey, John, it's Cliff Ravenscraft. Hey, it's been a long time since you were at the Next Level Workshop, and I just wanted to let you know I've been following your journey. By the way, congratulations on the new launch. I just saw your product, and the sales page looks awesome. By the way, did you think one thing you might want to do is add a testimonial? I happen to know so-and-so signed up for your thing, went through it, and they have great things to say about it. Why isn't there a testimony? I know if you ask him, he'd create a video testimonial for you. I definitely suggest that you add that. I think it will help you even gain more conversions on future sales for your product launch. Anyway, by the way, I'm reaching out to you with a personal video invitation to Free the Dream 2019. Quite frankly, I'm kind of shocked that I haven't seen a ticket purchase come through for you, and I wanted to know why. And here's what I think you're going to get out of Free the Dream. And I mean, all 30 of those personal video invitations are like that, all the way from beginning to end, extremely personalized. And they were between 2 to 10 minutes per video. And I sent all 30 of those out. That was a lot of work, but it was worth it. And it was something I was committed to. And that covered, in my case, 3 days worth of being on vacation. I figure I'd covered my commitment on that front. I didn't record a lot of it. In Tennessee, I didn't record those daily videos for YouTube distribution to all those other places. And quite frankly, it's just like, okay, that to try to maintain that, I know I'm all about doing the things that I'm committed to doing and stuff. But come on, let's have some balance here. And so I did those 30 things, and pretty much that's all I did on my trip to Tennessee. I'm going to take another quick drink here, and I'm not editing. And so let's see here. So that was July. Okay, so that was July 5th. July 6th and 7th, which was Saturday and Sunday, I didn't do any Free the Dream marketing at all. I just chose to focus on my time with my family and enjoy that vacation. And I felt really good about the things that I chose to do on the 5th. And also, by the way, that's not true. I was checking my email. And as you can imagine, these video invitations, they do prompt some email responses. And actually, many of them led to sales of Free the Dream conference. And it's one of the reasons why I am where I am today, which is better than I was for Free the Dream 2018. Okay. So anyways, didn't do much there. And then, of course, driving back, coming home on Sunday. Let's see here. Is there anything else? July. Okay. So let's talk about this week. All right. Starting with Monday, July 8th. All right. What have I done this week alone? Here's what I've done. I've done a few of these personal video invitations, and I thought these would be easier to do, and I do have a quicker way to do them than I was doing them. I just, for whatever reason, I felt like, man, I want to do these in 1080p, 60 frames per second using my Canon M50, which really adds a ton of time to the whole workflow. And BombBomb will still take those. But I've determined that, okay, if I'm going to even attempt to maintain this commitment to 10 of these per day, I'm going to use BombBomb, and I'm just going to use my Logitech Brio webcam, and I'm just going to fire these off this way. It doesn't have to be 1080p, 60 frames per second. And so the thing, as a result of that, and also responding to all of the emails that came in, and then all of these podcast interviews and all the other stuff that I'm doing, quite frankly, it's now Saturday, July 13th, and during this past week, I think I've only done a total of 7 or 8 personal video invitations. And a lot of that is just adjusting to coming back from vacation. Some of that is just still managing a lot of people who said, Cliff, that didn't work, and it looks like you're booked until the final week of August. I'd really like to get you on my show within the next week or two. Do you have any other time slots? And of course, I'm personally managing those, because those who are telling me this, they have audiences in the 5 to 150,000 subscriber range. And so, yes, I'm doing those, and not to mention the fact that, hey, I've got some commitments to being a husband, to being a father, and also my commitments to my personal health and fitness. I've learned the hard way and I am totally in a season between now and Free the Dream where I am in hustle mode. And I totally get that what I'm doing right now is not sustainable long term. And my family knows what I'm doing. They know why I'm doing it. I have their full support. And so, but still, even with that, I need to make time for myself to unwind and to have a little bit of a break every day, to go out and get some fresh air, to get a workout in, to listen to to listen to somebody else's content that will speak to me, that will motivate, encourage, and inspire me. I need to invest in my own personal and professional development. So I've got my own coaches that I need to reach out to and allow them to speak into my life. And so all of that, I'm like, okay, I didn't get 10 personal video and invitations in every single day. I didn't even get a video every single day, although I have for the last 3 days. And I think I'm at the place where I'm so caught up, and then I'm going to get so far ahead on video production that all of this is going to be really easy, moving forward. Okay, that's not true. All of this is going to be so much more manageable over the next couple weeks, because I am going to be getting ahead of it. It's just that I made this commitment to all this stuff, and then I went on vacation. So Anyway, all of that. So what have I done this week? I did those I've done a handful of personal video invitations, but mostly spent my time responding to all these people who are responding to my personal video invitations. And those are going extremely well. Here's the deal. Get this. I was the guest on 8 different podcast shows this week. Actually, one of them was a YouTube show. My friend Freya Casey, who happens to have like 800,000 subscribers to her YouTube channel, by the way. Yes, I will have a little bit of exposure to her 800,000 video subscribers. So I'm telling you, the million's a conservative number, my friends. That's all I'm saying. I did 8 different interviews. The shortest one I think was like 43 minutes. Some of them were like an hour and 10, hour and 20, hour 30 minutes. These people wanted to talk. They wanted to share this message, and it wasn't me droning on and on. They're the ones. It's like, listen, I will give you this time, and as long as I don't feel like we're wasting people's time, I will continue to go. And so they've been powerful interviews, all 8 of them. I mean, we're talking. These are 8 life transformational podcast episodes helping people understand that all beliefs have consequences and to give them things to think about that they've probably never intentionally thought about before. And yes, there was in every single one of them, there is a very specific call to action on behalf of the host telling their audience, guys, go to the freethedreamconference.com or go to freethedreamconference.com website. Sign up. Go to this. Most of them, by the way, are actually attending the conference themselves, all right, or speaking at the conference themselves. And so very high level call to action from those particular 8 interviews. And then there's I put out, it's like, listen, I know some of you are thinking, this Cliff Ravenscraft guy, man, this is powerful stuff I've just heard. I don't know that I'm instantly ready to sign up for a conference. And I said, if you go to Free the Dream Conference and you're not instantly going to sign up, do me a favor, go to mindsetanswerman.com/free and see the opening keynote address from last year. And it's absolutely free. It's no commitment for you to travel. See if this message resonates with you beyond what we've talked about here. And so that's how I've been handling that. And that went out to 8 different podcast shows. Actually, they were all recorded this past week, and they will be released over the next week or so. All 8 of them. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. And I've recorded my side of the conversation using my equipment here in the studio. And I've taken the audio of every interview that I've done, and then I recorded a little intro to my Audio Journal subscribers. And I kind of wondered, would my Audio Journal subscribers be a little flustered with 8 different episodes coming in? Like 4, I did 4 interviews yesterday, and I published the recording of all 4 of them in the Audio Journal yesterday. And I was like, guys, if I hope you can delete any of these that you don't want to listen to. And I've had a number of people who have reached out to me. In fact, Crystal Foth wrote this in the Free the Dream Facebook community today. She said, Cliff, thank you for posting all of the interviews in the Audio Journal. Each time I hear you share your story and the Free the Dream message, it always inspires me even more. I hear something new and different each time. I feel like I'm getting personal coaching with every question you answer as I apply them to my own life. And then I wrote this as a comment to Crystal's post. I said, thank you, Crystal. I have been enjoying the process of doing all of these interviews. It's helped me keep my own mindset focused on just how powerful the Free the Dream message really is. That focus has made me even more confident in the marketing efforts that I'm doing for the conference. And more importantly, it makes me more confident that I'm doing the work that God has put me on this earth to do. I appreciate you letting me know that you're enjoying the fact that I've been sharing these recordings in the Audio Journal. Thank you for taking the time to express this. So I've been putting all of these interviews, every single interview that I'm doing, I'm putting as episodes into the Audio Journal. Now, I've told the Audio Journal subscribers, listen, if I happen to come across an episode where I do an interview and it's a dud, and over the years I've had duds before, they happen so few. I've done I've done well over 1,000 different podcast interviews in the past 12 years. And I've probably had 4 duds. And I'm talking about where that person clearly didn't have a clue about, well, I mean, in all fairness, I mean, they just didn't have a clue. They had no idea who I was. They had, and of course, part of that was on me because of how I went about a long time ago. I was like, does anybody in the world want to interview me? Click here to schedule, and I would jump on the call, and I'm like, okay. And I always saw this like, listen, I enjoyed talking to that person. Maybe I had an impact in that person's life, but yeah. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to have any duds between now and August, quite frankly. All right, so some other things that I've been doing this past week. I didn't even talk about this, but I also had reached out prior to July 1st to the attendees of Free the Dream 2018 to get on a Zoom call and record video testimonials. And what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to go over to my computer here, and I'm going to pull up just one of these and play it for you. More than anything, it's going to give me a moment to take a drink and catch my breath because I'm not finished with this episode. This episode's going to be a little lengthier than some other ones. But I'm going to my external drive, and I am going to go to testimonials, and then I'm going to pull up here Free the Dream Zoom calls, and then I'm going to pull up, let's do the Casey Price one, and I'm going to go to the final video, and then I'm going to click on here and do Open with QuickTime, and I'm going to pull this up on an external another monitor here in my studio, and I'm going to play the video of this, and those of you who are listening to the podcast episodes, you're going to hear the audio of it, but let me just go ahead and do this full screen. And here's what Casey Price had to say about his Free the Dream experience.
Hi, everybody. I'm Casey Price. I'm an elder care attorney from Haddonfield, New Jersey. It's my dream to be able to take what I do, where I help people one at a time, and scale that so I can help all sorts of people all over the place get their loved ones the best possible care. And that's what drew me to Free the Dream. I've been listening to Cliff for years. And I've actually come in contact with a lot of people in his community. And every single person I've ever met has inspired me to take action, has inspired me to better myself. I went into Free the Dream with frankly, extremely high expectations. I was shocked. What I got out of it exceeded every idea I had thought that this conference could be. It was an experience. I'm not a religious guy, but it was almost a religious experience where I felt moved to take action. I felt moved to achieve things, and I knew I could do it. That's what's amazing. So while I was hoping to get something out of it, right? You go to every conference, you want to take something home with you. I didn't realize I was going to come home a different person. And that's really what happened. I've grown as a person as a result of what I learned and what I got to experience at Free the Dream. And here's the deal. You know how when you go to these conferences, you are motivated, you are inspired to take action. I know that happens to me. I sit in the room and I think to myself, wow, this is really something. I'm gonna take whatever I've learned from the conference and I'm going to apply it and I'm going to achieve great things. And I have to say, in the past, it's never come to fruition. I'd come home and the daily grind of life would take over. And all the great things I learned at a conference would be lost shortly thereafter. But I have to say, this is the first time ever where I have come home and I find myself thinking about the conference. I find myself thinking about things Cliff taught me. I find myself going into the Facebook community of the Free the Dream Facebook group and being inspired every single day to take more action, to do more things. I have my name tag from Free the Dream in iView, right? So I can see it as I'm sitting at my desk and working, and I use that to help inspire me because I've like I said, I grew as a person, and I'm not going to lose that. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to harness what I've learned from Free the Dream and continue to use it every day of my life. I knew this was so important. I knew this experience was going to take me to a new place in my life. I could feel it at the conference. I felt it so strongly that while I was at dinner in the middle of the conference, I bought my ticket for the next year. I wasn't going to miss this. I don't think I'm ever going to miss this. This is something that is truly important to me because it moved me. It changed me. And it'll change you too. It changed everybody who attended the conference. And I have to say, like I said, my expectations were high. They were exceeded to the point where I'm going this year without expectations. And I can't wait to see you at Free the Dream. I can't wait to meet you and hear what your dream is, because every person I've met along the way on this journey has helped me become the person I am, and it's going to help me become the person I want to be. If you've been thinking about coming to Free the Dream and you haven't signed up yet, don't wait another moment. I was inspired, like I said, to sign up while I was at Free the Dream last year. If you're thinking about it, you know it's right for you. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Sign up. Join this community, because you're going to get so much more out of it than you put into it. It's one of those things. People say in life, you get more than you give. This will embody that phrase. You will get so much more out of this than you put into it. You're going to be amazed. I truly believe it. I can't wait. I'm counting the days till Free the Dream 2019. I've got my plane ticket. I've got my hotel room. I can't wait. And I'm really excited to see Cliff. I'm really excited to see everybody who was there last year. And I'm really excited to see you too.
All right, so there you go. That was my testimonial that I did via Zoom call with Casey Price. Let me fix my background here for those of you who are watching the video. Anyway, so I have 87 people who came to Free the Dream conference. And for those of you who listen to me a lot, you've heard me say this before. There's something that defies explanation. Words cannot describe what happened at Free the Dream 2018 last year. I'm telling you, it's not just a conference. I'm telling you that God has put me on this earth to create these experiences for people to radically transform their belief systems so that they can begin achieving the massive change that's required for them to live the lives for which they were created. Casey Price, not a religious guy, by his own admission right there in that testimonial. He says it was a spiritual or religious experience. It's like, what the heck happened here? He said he went into this with high expectations and he was blown away. He did not expect to come home a different person. All 87 people at Free the Dream conference, including the video and audio production crew, went home different people. And that includes me. All right? Hands down, I will tell you, there are 87 people who will create a testimonial for me just like that. And I have several of them scheduled over the next several weeks as well. Anyway, guys, this is so, and by the way, this isn't Cliff Ravenscraft, guys. This is so much bigger than me. And it's so much bigger than you. And it's what you and I are called to start showing up in life and in this world the way that we were created to do. There is work we were created to do in this world, and if we continue to allow ourselves to believe what we believe about who we are and the value we have to offer this world, we're going to continue to play it small, and we're going to be fat, broke, and nearly dead. And I'm not just talking physically dead. I'm talking spiritually, or even just emotionally dead inside. And it's time to wake up. It's time to experience change. It's time to transform your life. It's time to start believing, yes, you are worthy. Yes, you can get rid of all of the fears. Yes, you have all the resources available to you to get out of debt, to start doing the work that you feel most called to do in this world. And I'm not talking about starting a business. Some people who come to my conference, they have their own full-time day jobs that they love. But they still had all sorts of beliefs about whether or not they should be working 60 to 80 hours a week. And some of them who have day jobs went and negotiated a 40-hour work week, and that it was the most difficult conversation that they'd ever had with their boss. But man, they felt like I've got to do something because I need my family life back. I need to start spending. My kids are getting older, and it's like, come to Free the Dream Conference, my friends. I'm going to get more of these testimonials because it's one thing for me to tell you that people transformed their lives that weekend. And it's not, I didn't transform their lives. Their lives were transformed by being exposed to information and an experience that allowed them to get away from all the distraction in their life and all of the conditioning that's going on in their life. The conditioning from the news media, the conditioning from the movies and televisions they typically watch at night, which I'm not opposed to. I love watching television. Let me tell you, even during this busiest season of my life, I've been going through and binge watching at night the late 1970s TV series called Taxi. Still a brilliant television show. So I'm not opposed to this stuff. But let me tell you something. If you are not intentionally spending time every day choosing what you believe about who you are and about what you're able to achieve in this world, I will tell you, you will let other people tell you who you are and what you're able to achieve in this world. And your beliefs will be vastly different. Free the Dream Conference, my friends. Anyway, so fast forward to Wednesday of this week. I go to my hot seat. I go to my mastermind group, the green room. I am in the hot seat. And I'm like, guys, here's the deal. I don't think that I really need any advice. By the way, this is a belief system, right? I really don't think that I need any advice today on how to market my conference. Here are the things that I'm doing. And pretty much I shared everything that I've shared with you guys and stuff like this. And I said, you guys have already given me so much advice. I have more advice from you guys on my list of things to do that I still haven't implemented. For example, and I said this, I know that I need to have a banner I need to have a banner image on cliffravenscraft.com. I need that, for my Kajabi site on the main homepage. I don't have that yet. I know that I need to create a banner image for my WordPress site that has thousands of posts on it that gets tons of traffic every month from Google. I haven't done that yet. I should probably put that on gspn.tv and Virtual Assistant Podcast. And Mike, I know that I should do all of those and make sure that they have the UTM tracking links so that I can tell which of those are most effective and which are working well, so that it can and maybe evaluate and maybe optimize and then track the difference between one banner from another and all that other stuff. I haven't done any of that, but I'm going to. I'm eventually going to get around to it. I'm just really, this is what I've been up to. And they said, Cliff, whoa, stop. Wait a second. Why haven't you done those things? And by the way, those little things that I just told you, the banners, putting a big banner image at cliffravenscraft.com and all my other web properties, putting these banners on there with UTM tracking codes. Michael Stelzner gave me that advice. I'm going to admit this to you. This is the audio journal, okay? This is what you get in the audio journal. You get the real, true, authentic, transparent Cliff Ravenscraft. I had that wise, sage advice from a man who's just said, Cliff, you have access to me night and day. All right. Now, I will tell you, I implemented so many things that Michael Stelzner told me last year. Last year, I created Hotjar account, and I've learned how to use heat maps and video clip recordings of what's going on my pages when people visit. I had implemented UTM parameters on my emails and my vlogs and my videos and all that other stuff and social media posts, and I was effectively tracking that. But there was just one thing that I did not implement last year leading up to Free the Dream 2018. Because Free the Dream 2018, not only did I not know how to market an event like Free the Dream, and I was learning all of that, and I'm not going to express that I was feeling overwhelmed by all of it. It's just I just didn't know what I didn't know, and there was a limited amount of time and resources available to me at the moment. And it was a big, huge financial risk, so I didn't necessarily know that I could afford, to hire people to do all that stuff for me at the time. So here's the deal. I implemented what I could, but I had 7 talks that I gave at Free the Dream last year that I had never even given before. I had to develop all of those, and I had to manage all my speakers and everything. It's like this. It was the first time doing everything last year. And so I give myself that kind of excuse as to why, even though 3 months prior to Free the Dream 2018, I was supposed to add these banners all over the place, I never did. And here I am a year later, and I still hadn't done them. And I tell them in the hot seat, and of course I'm telling them, I don't think I need any advice. They say, Cliff, we're going to give you some advice. Dude, today. And actually, it's like, when are you going to do those? And I said, well, I'll probably get around to them tomorrow. It's like, why not today? Seriously, why not today? Do you understand? And Michael Stelzner is like, listen, do you know that that's the biggest return? I mean, you're talking to a guy who's an analytics nerd. I will tell you, the traffic to your sales page, the highest rate of return are going to be these banner images. Do it today. It's much more powerful than the next 30 personal video invitations. I'm not saying those aren't effective, but they're not going to be as effective. I mean, gosh, you get 30 people. If you did 30 personal video invitations, how many hours is that going to take you? Well, that might net you how many landing pages? At most 30 unique landing pages visits, right? 30. And how many hours? How many hours would it take you to create those banners? That is probably maybe 1 or 2. Dude, that's going to net you hundreds and I bet you even thousands of landing page views. Seriously, Cliff. And then you've got the Facebook remarketing, and you've got the mail, and many of those people are going to sign up for your mailing list and all this other. You got to get these banners up. And so I'm like, okay. And one of the reasons why there's only been a few of the personal video outreaches is because Wednesday, after I did my Green Room Mastermind and I was in the hot seat, I spent some time. And by the way, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull this up for those who are watching the video. But let's see. They're seeing the QuickTime player. But I'm going to tell you guys who are listening via audio, you can go and do all of this. You can see all of this for yourself if you go to cliffravenscraft.com is the first one. So I'm actually going to open up an incognito window so that there's no cookies. And this is what it looks like. If you come to cliffravenscraft.com, you'll notice that big, bold, huge, Free the Dream. And it says Free the Dream Conference, September 13th through the 15th, 2019, Franklin, Tennessee. It says now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work that you feel most called to do in this world. Click here to learn more. And by the way, it has a UTM parameter. So if you click that link, I will know that it's the homepage of cliffravenscraft.com and that banner and that campaign that has sent you to the Free the Dream website. All right. Now, not only that, but if you scroll through this website, there's another thing that I did as a result of that. I'm like, hey, actually, why didn't this do it? So if I go to cliffravenscraft.com and if I go and I navigate to the sales page and I scroll down and then I go to walk away from it, like it's called an exit intent pop-up. I also, that afternoon, right after doing the Green Room Mastermind call, I created a little pop-up that if you go to leave the sales page, it says Free the Dream. It's got the nice image. It says, not sure about Free the Dream? Check out the opening keynote from last year's event to give you a sample of what's in store for you at what's in store for you at Free the Dream in Franklin, Tennessee. And then it says it's got a big blue bold button that says click here to watch the 2018 opening keynote, which, by the way, I'm going to see if I can do this without that. I clicked that link. That will take you over to the mindsetanswerman.com/free page, which says, give me 60 minutes and I'll show you how to live the life of your dreams. And then the subtitle is learn the exact system I use to quadruple my income, create a wildly successful business, and lose 100 pounds. And it says, first, watch the 90-second video clip below. And and trust me, that 90-second video clip has been extremely effective. I would say, I think it's 70% of the people who land on this page have opted in to get the full 1 hour video. So why haven't I done this before Wednesday of last? Oh my gosh. Anyway, so let's just say they do that and then they still have it opens it in another tab and then they come back here. It says, wait a second, click here to return to the sales page. So there's this option to get back onto the sales page. Why haven't I done this? Michael Stelzner, you are a godsend. I thank God for you every day and everybody else in the Green Room Mastermind. You are all absolutely amazing. Also, Michael Stelzner says, Cliff, you need to, one thing that's been incredibly effective is being very strategic about your pricing as it goes up. I know that you've got a thing on air that says how long it is before your ticket prices go up. But Cliff, you want to add, I recommend that you start increasing the ticket prices twice a week, every Tuesday and every Friday. And I'm like, and I had all sorts of mindset about that. And so I expressed why I was only doing it on the schedule that I was. And I think that I will begin to implement what you're saying, but maybe I'll wait until after this run and all this. He says, and he says, Cliff, what if I told you this? What if I told you this? And he convinced me. And I'm like, okay. And so now if you go to freethedreamconference.com, it says register now and save $500 on your VIP ticket. Offer expires July 16th, which is this coming Tuesday. And by the way, if you come after Tuesday, July 16th, it will actually say something like $450, save $450. And it will say that expires that Friday, which is just a couple days later, right? And so I'm going to do this, and it has been extremely effective, and people are reaching out. They're saying, Cliff, I've been on the sales page a couple times, and I noticed that you've got this special going on. Let me go ahead and ask you my question, because I know the price is about ready to go up. It's been incredibly effective. Thank you, Michael Stelzner, because people need to get off the fence. They need to really start planning. I mean, not only will they save money if on the ticket price. Let me just say this: not only will they save ticket. No, hold on. Not only will you save money on the ticket price if you sign up right now for the Free the Dream Conference at freethedreamconference.com, you'll save money on your airfare, because the longer, the more time in advance you book it, the cheaper the airfare is. And the same may be true of those hotel prices, because as it gets closer, more and more people, you can tell, I'm committed. I'm doing everything within my power to make sure 300 people's lives are radically transformed with the Free the Dream 2019 experience this year. So, with that being said, those ticket prices are going to go up when they start seeing that they're almost completely full. Now, the thing is, great news is that there's lots of hotels. And if you go to freethedreamconference.com to the frequently asked questions page, there's lots of hotels for you to choose from. So, go book today. Michael Stelzner, thank you for that. But also, not only did I do that Wednesday, but I did this. If you go to cliffravenscraft.com, and you click on podcast in the nav menu, all of my podcast episodes are still on WordPress. I'm not going to take time to explain all of that to you and why, but on every single podcast post page that gets tons of Google traffic, there's now a banner over on the right-hand side, an image that says click here to learn more. And it's pretty much it's a different version of the banner that's on top of cliffravenscraft.com. But that's now driving traffic to the sales page. But also, if you go to our old website, gspn.tv, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of podcast episodes. I don't know if you guys know this, but I've recorded and published over 4,000 of my own podcast episodes. And most of those episodes are still on the archives of gspn.tv, which is another WordPress installation. And those things get thousands of views every single month. And now every time somebody pulls that up, it's going to pull up the Free the Dream message in the banner as well. The banner is going to be on there as well. And also, if you go to virtualassistantpodcast.com, which is just one podcast I did back in 2010, 38 episodes. This thing still gets hundreds of new visits, new subscribers who listen to every single episode, every single month, and there's a banner there. All right, so yeah, I did all of that immediately after I got off of my Green Room Mastermind call. Do you guys see the power of a mastermind group? And quite frankly, I should have done that last year. I should have done that if I didn't have time, effort, and energy to do it leading up to the weeks leading up to Free the Dream 2018. That should have been the first thing on my list in September after I got home from Free the Dream last year. But I was still so blown away by what happened. I was trying to process it. I was trying to make sense of it all. I was just handling all of you would not believe the exchanges and the interactions I had with the lives of the people who came to Free the Dream. I have excuses for not doing it, but then I lost my focus on it for whatever. And it took this week's Green Room to get me to do those things. And obviously those things are going to, they are already having a profound impact. Already. Because it's been since Wednesday, and I've already seen the amount of traffic just those banner ads are. And there's still a ton of other things that Michael told me about, and my other friends have told me about that I haven't implemented. And you better believe I'm going to try to implement as much of that as I can on top of what I've already told you. Also, StephanieRavenscraft.com has a similar big, huge banner as well. All right. I was playing around, and the other thing is I do have this Day with Cliff package. It's a one-on-one opportunity to spend an entire 8-hour day with me for $7,500. You heard me talk about this in episode 602 of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show. I don't talk about it very often. It's always been kind of like an invite-only kind of deal. But I've had enough people who heard episode 602, which was titled Journey of a True Fan. It was the Stephen Faust story. And so many of you have asked, is there a place where I can learn more about this? And so I was doing some website stuff, and within 90 minutes, I did all of those banner ads, but I also created, finally, a Day with Cliff landing page as well on my website. So if you go to mindsetanswerman.com or cliffravenscraft.com, it'll both take you to the same place. Click the Word With Me link in the nav menu, and you'll see that it'll have Free the Dream. It has the Next Level Mastermind. It also has my Next Level Workshop, which currently none are scheduled, but you can put yourself on a waiting list there. But the third option down now is Day with Cliff. Come spend a day with me. And you know what? I have the ability to do a couple. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a moment. But I added that as well because of my hot seat. Let me tell you something. You may think, I don't need help. I already know what to do. Sometimes you just need a group of peers who will hold your feet to the fire to do the things you know you should have done a year ago. It's the power of a mastermind. It's why I do what I do through the Next Level Mastermind. And so thank you guys in the green room. All right, we're almost ready to wrap this thing up here. That's what I've been up to for the past 13 days. 13 days. It's been incredible. Here's the thing. As of right now, this very moment in time, there are only 8.5 weeks till Free the Dream Conference in Franklin, Tennessee. That's 62 days from today. 62 days from today. Here's what I intend to do with my time between now and Free the Dream. First of all, and I'm going to read this from my list here because I want to wrap this up real quickly here for you. Do everything within my power to see that a minimum of 300 people's lives are radically transformed by their experience live at Free the Dream 2019. I will be sharing the Free the Dream message with between 4 to 5 different podcast shows per week, every week, with the exception of the week Monday, July 29th. I will not be doing it that week because I am traveling from Franklin, Tennessee to Montgomery, Alabama that 1 week. However, that is 6 weeks. Between now and the end of August, I will be doing between 4 to 8 podcast interviews per week for 6 weeks between now and the end of August. That's a minimum of 24 podcast interviews. However, it could be as many as 48 podcast interviews. Me as a guest on 48 other people's podcasts. And that's not include the 8 that I just did this week. That's 40 up to 48 more between now and the end of August. I am committed to getting this message out, my friends. I intend to do 2 episodes of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show every week between now and Free the Dream. We'll see how that turns out for you guys. I intend to maintain my schedule of 1 highly valuable piece of super awesome newsletter content that's motivational, inspirational technique, strategy, tool that you can apply to your life and see radical transformation every Monday between now and Free the Dream. Want to keep that up. I intend to send out a broadcast episode later in the week, maybe on a Thursday or Friday, but it's specifically targeting those who have not yet signed up for Free the Dream, who are on my mailing list, and it will contain either a testimonial or a case study of somebody whose lives have been transformed, or maybe some kind of, here's something, maybe you think you can't attend because of this. Here's what to consider. Have you thought about this? That kind of stuff. But very separate from my email newsletter, but a very marketing-focused email once a week, each week between now and Free the Dream. Let's see here. So that's that. I intend to continue to record, edit, and publish testimonials from Free the Dream 2018 people via those Zoom calls, just like the Casey Price thing I just shared with you. Just like and by the way, the Crystal Falth episode 605, that was one of those Zoom calls. I've got a lot of them I've already recorded. I need to edit and produce and stuff, and I've got more that are scheduled over the next 7 weeks actually. And then I intend to, let's see here. I intend to publish at least one video a day every day, 10 minutes in length or less. This one is an exception, a little bit over 10 minutes for those who are watching this in video, but this is considered my one video a day. But anyway, I will syndicate these to all the platforms. Because this one's over 10 minutes, I may create a 10-minute version of this video and say, if you want to watch the rest of this, click the link in the description, and then I don't know if I'll do that or not. We'll see. It's Saturday. And then I intend to intentionally improve my Facebook ads. Currently, I had said I was going to do that every Tuesday and Thursday. I think I'm just going to limit that to Monday mornings, and that's how I'm going to use my time with Mark Mason. He's really good at helping me with that stuff. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to maintain a minimum of 10 personal video invitations every single day. But I have determined I'm going to use a much simpler process. I'm just going to use the BombBomb instant platform. I'm going to just use the webcam, and I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do as many as I possibly can, but I still need to make sure that, here's the deal. I want to maintain my own commitment to being a father, to being a husband, and to my own physical fitness and health. And so at each, you hear me, I've been telling you all the things that I'm doing, but when it comes down to it, I'm making sure that I'm not working any more than like a 10-hour day. And on the weekends, I take it a little bit easier. And yes, a 10-hour day is insane. It's hustle mode, but I'm willing to be in hustle mode for 11 weeks. All right, because unfortunately, I should have done a little bit more than I had done prior to this, and yeah, I've learned the distinct. I'm working on it. All right, and let's see here. Outside of marketing Free the Dream, here's the other things that I have. I already have some other commitments. Obviously, 4 mastermind, actually not up to 4 mastermind groups. Okay, no, 3 or 4. Mastermind groups every week that I personally facilitate. Twice a month, it's 4, 3. The rest of, but every week, there's at least 3 mastermind groups that I facilitate. The Next Level Mastermind AM group, Next Level Mastermind PM group, Next Level Mastermind Group 3, which meets twice a month, and the Green Room Mastermind. All of those are highlights of my week. They're amazing, and if you've been thinking about it and you want to talk about it, not tired kicker, but you're serious about it, email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Put phone conversation in the subject line. I'm available for one of those per day, but only if you're really serious. All right. So I'm going to continue to facilitate my mastermind groups every week, even when I'm traveling from Franklin to Montgomery. I will be speaking at Ray Edwards Copywriting Academy live event that's happening in Franklin, Tennessee, at the same venue as the Free the Dream conference. That's coming up July 26th through the 28th, so I'll be driving down to Franklin, Tennessee to do that. I'm not yet sure which day at Ray's event that I'll be speaking, but I will be doing a talk titled All Beliefs Have Consequences. It's my opening keynote address for Free the Dream Conference, and I will be doing that talk at Ray's event. I will be fully present at the entire event. I will engage with I'm reading this. I will engage with people on a deep level, learning as much as I can about their dreams, and I will use my gifts, talents, and experience to help as many human beings that God will put into my path at Ray's event to help them experience massive breakthroughs in their mindset so that they can be freed up to do the life for which they were created from that day forward. I'm committed to doing that for as many people at Ray Edwards' event as possible. All right? And then, of course, I will do my own marketing stuff that I talk about here. I will do that early in the mornings before I head out to Ray's event and in the evenings when I get back. Ray's event ends Sunday, and then I will have a few days to travel from Franklin, Tennessee down to Montgomery, Alabama, which I've already done the math on that. It's just a few more hours of travel. So I will roll into Montgomery at some point, and then I will be speaking at Giovanna Ellison's Thrive Summit, which is happening August 1st and 2nd. I will be speaking on Thursday morning, August 1st at 11:45 a.m. I will be giving my Free the Dream opening keynote message for her audience. It's called All Beliefs Have Consequences. By the way, you can see this message. It's available for free, the version that I did at Free the Dream 2018. I'll slightly improve it quite significantly for each of these. And by the time I get to Free the Dream this year, it'll be so freaking awesome. Anyway, you can see it for free, mindsetanswerman.com/free if you haven't yet seen the Free the Dream opening keynote address. mindsetanswerman.com/free. Go check that out. But I will deliver that to her audience. I will be fully present at her entire event. I will engage with every person that God allows me to engage. I will make sure that if God will give me the opportunity to connect and talk with people, I will learn about their dreams. I will ask them about what they need to do to be able to achieve those dreams. I'll ask them why they haven't yet done those activities or those behaviors, those actions, and then they will tell me about their limiting beliefs, and we will eliminate them one by one. I will have as many of those 1 to 3 hour conversations as God will allow me to have, and people will walk away from the Thrive Summit radically changed. I can't wait. I will then head home from Montgomery, Alabama, and that's going to be awesome. And then I come back and I go back to my normal schedule of all the other stuff that I've got going on. And then finally, 1 week before Free the Dream Conference, so pretty much just after the first week in first week in September, I will travel down 1 week prior to the Free the Dream Conference. I'm going to travel to Franklin, Tennessee again, and I will be speaking at Jeff Goins' Tribe Conference, which is also at the same venue, just 1 week earlier in Franklin, Tennessee at the factory. So his Tribe Conference is happening September 6th through the 8th. I don't yet know which day I will be speaking there, but I will be speaking there. I will be giving the All Beliefs Have Consequences opening keynote address at Jeff's event. I will be fully present each and every day of that event, and I will have as many life transformational conversations as I can help deliver for people at Jeff's event. So I'm committed to that. Then after Jeff's conference is finished on Sunday afternoon, I will just remain in Franklin, Tennessee. I will be... I don't know what I'll be doing, but I will remain in Franklin, Tennessee. Clark Buckner, great member of my community, he hosts a great meetup of human beings that get together every single month in Nashville, the Nashville Podcasters Meetup. And they happen to do that once a week, every Wednesday evening. And because now my Wednesday evenings are free because we moved our Next Level Mastermind PM to Thursdays, I'm now finally able to accept his invitation. It just so happens that I will be speaking at the Nashville Podcaster Meetup on Wednesday, July 11th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center, 41 Peabody Street in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I can't wait to go and speak to that community. And I will probably be talking about all the most valuable lessons that I've learned from my podcasting journey, personally producing over 30 different podcasts, over 4,000 podcast episodes, but also training over 40,000 people how to successfully launch their own podcast. So I can't wait to share those insights with them. And then I will, some other things. I'm going to continue to work between now and between now and Free the Dream. I'm going to continue to work on honing and improving my own messages for Free the Dream 2019. Obviously, I get a minimum of 3 full practice runs, which they're not even practice runs. I've delivered this talk several times already. But and then just imagine how many times I'm giving the Free the Dream message overall, a little variation of all of the Free the Dream message in 48 more podcast interviews between now and Free the Dream. This is so awesome that it's all working together. Anyway, I'm going to continue to hone my gift and my talent and my message. Stephanie's going to be working on her talk. I'll be helping with her. We're going to continue to work with our event planning team who puts this event on. I'm going to continue to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life, including these next, 8.5 weeks. I will continue my keto journey. For those of you who are listening to the audio journal consistently, I just want to let you know I am on day 69 of my journey of being into ketosis. I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. Maybe I'll do another keto journal or journey update specifically for that. By the way, I will say this for those of you who listen to all of the Cliff Ravenscraft show. There was an episode a while back, and I'm going to see if I can find it. If I go to cliffravenscraft.com, I click on podcast, and I go back a little while and to some old episodes here. I am looking for, I think it was 5 something. So, Do You Know What You Were Born to Be? Older episodes. Almost there. Getting Beyond Your Fear of Failure. I'm looking for an episode title. It's Confession Time. It was episode 595. So if anybody wants to, go to mindsetanswerman.com/595. This was recorded back in April of 2019. So May, June, July. April of 2000, 3 months. All right, 3 months later. So in that episode, it was titled, It's Confession Time. And I just wanted to be very transparent and authentic with you guys back then. And I said, listen, I say a lot of bold things, and I mean the things that I say. And I've been able to commit to some pretty insane stuff. Like, I'm going to work out 6 days a week, every week for the rest of my life, which I've maintained that commitment with some variations that I've always talked about, like being sick or business travel, but I still do it today. All right. I will never eat sugar again for the rest of my life. I can tell you right now, still very much a reality for me. All right. But there's another thing I said. I was like, man, I made this bold statement in like April of last year, 2018. I said, I will never, ever be over 200 pounds again for the rest of my life. That will never happen. All right. Well, it was confession time. And in episode 595, I told you, it's like, I still maintained my workout, but man, I had lost my focus and I had gotten back into eating unhealthy stuff. And I couldn't I couldn't outwork out the amount of calories that I was eating with the type of food that I was eating. And I said I'd never be over 200 pounds again. And when I recorded that episode, if I'm not mistaken, I was like 221 pounds. And I was not living in integrity with who I knew I was created to be. I had failed to live up to that commitment, and I wanted to be authentic and say, I'm not perfect. And some of you have set some pretty big goals, and you have this mentality that, man, if I've said this and I failed, I'm a failure. I might as well just give up and just let the chips fall where they may. And I'm like, listen, no, I struggled to maintain. I'm never going to be perfect, but man, I know what it takes to get where I want to be in life. And this is not acceptable. And I am no longer a fat human being who gravitates towards 272 pounds. Dude, I'm a 180 pound man who currently at episode 595 in April of last year, I'm a man who is a 180 pound guy living in a 221 pound body, and it's not acceptable. And I just want to authentically confess to you that that's happened to me. I hope it's an encouragement to you that if you fail sometimes to live up to a very bold statement you've made to the world, that it's not the end of the world. You don't have to give up and think you're a failure. Although I know there's one of you who thinks that's the case. It doesn't bother me. The reality is that most of you understand that, wow, that was very transparent. That's very authentic. I will tell you, as of today, I got on the scale. I just checked in. And I want to tell you that when I jumped on the scale today, I was 194 pounds. All right. So I have been back under 200 pounds for a significant amount of time now. I am on my way back down to 180. I will be at least 180, or I may even get down to like 165, as long as it's a healthy 165. But I certainly, by the time you see me in Franklin, Tennessee, I will be back down to the low 180s, if not lower. That's something I can tell you. I know it's going to happen. I've been in a ketogenic state for 69 days now. By the way, the keto journey, the keto diet, none of that has anything to do with my weight loss. As far as what I would need to do, I don't recommend the keto journey for anybody who hasn't done all the research for yourself. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, go to mindsetanswerman.com/resources. I have a lot of people who have asked me about it because Michael Hyatt recommended it to me, and I followed his recommendation after first rejecting the suggestion to do it. But if you want to learn about a little bit about my keto journey, head out to mindsetanswerman.com/resources. You'll be able to see a little bit about the keto diet and what I've done there. But anyway, those of you who are actually watching me on video, I'm not 221 pounds. And you know what? Scale's going down, my friends. And that's because, you know what? I know what my physical body should be. I know the kind of foods that I should be eating. And I'm back to living in integrity with the life that God's called me to live in the style of eating and food and consumption that I do. I now eat for energy, not for emotional support. Anyway, so there's that. I wanted to share with you. I will continue to be the husband and father that I am called to be throughout the next 8.5 weeks, but with the caveat that my wife and my kids know that I am in a season of hustle, that they fully understand and support. But with that being said, I may end up spending the rest of my day at Kings Island. I may I may do some exciting things with my family on the weekends, and make sure that I try to carve out some time to do some interesting things and invest in their lives during these 8.5 weeks as well. Because they're more important to me than anybody else on this earth, quite frankly. All right. So there's that. What else did I have on here? And by the way, I'm on the last bullet points. I may allow up to 2 people, 2 human beings, 2 individuals to do a Day with Cliff package between now and Free the Dream Conference. Specifically, if you're going to be, if you're anywhere between Franklin, Tennessee and Montgomery, Alabama, I'm already between Ray Edwards' event and Giovanna Ellison's event. There's already a several days that I have. I haven't booked my hotel from Montgomery because I don't know. There may be some of you who are in Franklin, Tennessee that you might want to spend that day with Cliff. And I have a couple days after Ray's event before I need to be in Montgomery, Alabama for Giovanna's event. And so if you are hearing my voice, watching me here in video, or if you want to know what is the date range for that Day with Cliff package, you can go to mindsetanswerman.com or cliffravenscraft.com, click work with me, look for the Day with Cliff invitation, and the dates are in the PS section at the bottom of that page. Or you can email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com, put Day with Cliff in the subject line. We can schedule a time to talk about whether or not that opportunity would be available for you. All right? By the way, it is a $7,500 investment, all right? It is a $7,500 investment. I want to make sure you know that up front. But I will potentially allow myself to schedule 2 of those between now and Free the Dream Conference. If you're interested, reach out and let me know. Day with Cliff, subject line. And then, and then the last thing I have on here is this. I will say no to everything that's not listed that I've just shared with you. I will not entertain any other ideas, any other speaking gigs, anything else. And unfortunately, this is the first year, and I so apologize. Let me tell you something. I am a huge fan of podcast movement. I want you to hear my words. I am a huge fan of what goes on at Podcast Movement. It is an amazing annual conference. It has my full endorsement and support as an amazing community for you to go and plug into, to be around other podcasters who are making a difference in people's lives. It is an incredible community. Podcast Movement, this is the first year that I'm not going to it. I hate that. I really, seriously hate that. But I think it's clear why I'm not going to Podcast Movement based upon everything that I just shared with you. And by the way, the only reason why I didn't even submit to talk is because this is the second time that the Podcast Movement has been on the same week as my wife's birthday and our wedding anniversary. My wife's birthday is August 10th. My wife and I got married 1 week after she turned 18. I'm not kidding you. And so our anniversary, we'll be married 23 years on August 17th. And Podcast Movement is right in that week in between. And as you can tell, I've got a lot of other things going on, and my wife gets my attention on August 10th and August 17th. That's a no-brainer. It's not even a question. I will not be in Orlando for Podcast Movement this year. I know a lot of you were expecting to see me there. My very sincere apologies. And I don't take missing that conference lightly. I was very serious about, let me just say this. If I were to magically appear in Orlando for Podcast Movement 2019, it will be a last-minute decision, and my wife will be in my arms. All right. Well, she'll be by my side. I promise you that. All right. But the chances of that happen, very minimal. Unless, let me just throw this in there. Unless you're going to be in Orlando and you want to extend it a day and you want to do a day with Cliff package, that would be the exception. It would still be the $7,500. We would do that day with Cliff together, either the day before Podcast Movement starts or the day after Podcast Movement starts. And that day, I will send my wife to go hang out with some friends in Orlando at Disney World. So, yeah, that's the only way I'll show up at Orlando. If somebody wants to, so there's another opportunity to do a day with Cliff. If you're going to Podcast Movement, you would love to do a day with Cliff, a full 8 hours of one-on-one mentoring and masterminding about massive breakthroughs in your own personal and professional life. Reach out to me. Day with Cliff is the subject line for the email to cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. This, my friends, was originally going to be an audio journal update. This is the reality. This is the kind of stuff I'm always sharing with the audio journal subscribers. All right. They always get all of this detailed inside information that, quite frankly, it's a lot of real time information, a lot of real stuff. This is, and here's the thing, everything that I've just talked about, in future episodes over the next 8.5 weeks, I will continue to produce a minimum of 1 episode per week of the audio journal, that gives them updates on how I'm doing on living up to these commitments. What are the responses that I'm getting from all the things that I'm doing? How is it working? What am I going to change? What am I going to modify? They're going to get updates to all of that. That's the benefit of being an audio journal subscriber. You can check out mindsetanswerman.com/audio journal if you're interested. And of course, I told you there's going to be up to 48 more podcast interviews in the next 8.5 weeks. Audio journal subscribers get all of those too if they want them. And I know not every one of them. And those of you who are audio journal subscribers, I know you're still listening to this at this point. Yes, my audio journal subscribers, they listen to these episodes all the way through. So here's what I want to say specifically to those of you who are audio journal subscribers. Yes, you've been seeing sometimes 4 episodes in a single day pop up in your feed, and they say interview with so-and-so. Here's what I want to encourage you to do. Don't ever feel obligated to listen to all of those interviews. It's way too much content for the average bear, all right? But let me tell you something. I would encourage you to allow them to download and just listen to the intro, because for every interview I say, hey guys, episode such and such, and in today's episode I did this. And I might briefly give you within that 90-second to 3-minute intro into the interview, I may say audio journal-ish kind of stuff. And then once you get into the interview, if it doesn't immediately capture you, delete the thing and move on to the next audio journal episode that piques your interest. My gosh, a 2-hour episode, a bonus-ode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, a 2-hour vlog episode. Who does this guy think he is? Well, if you're still watching me, if you're still listening to me in the Cliff Ravenscraft Show, well, obviously I created this just for you. Quite frankly, it's only for you, because I know a ton of people never even clicked play on the YouTube video or the Facebook video or wherever else I put it. I know a ton of people saw 2 hours in the Cliff Ravenscraft Show feed, and I'll delete that one. And I know, well, actually, everybody on the Audio Journal, you all listen to this one, and I love you guys, the true fans in the community. Guys, why am I doing all of this? This is still the most financially risky thing I've ever done in my life. Free the Dream Conference is still the most financially risky thing I've ever done in my life. And financially, I have a vision and a dream of where it's going to go. And I know that putting the time, effort, and energy and finding out how to market an event like this, the thing is figuring out how to do the event and have it be absolutely life transformational for every single human being that is a part of it. I've got that down. I have it down, and that's the reason why I'm doing it. I had a vision, and I felt about 95% certain that I was going to be able to pull it off at Free the Dream. I had no idea it was going to be what it was. But then afterwards, it's like, okay, I don't care how much money I lost based upon the fact that I didn't know what I was doing marketing this thing. I'll figure out the marketing thing I refuse to allow myself the idea or the out that I'll have less than 300 people at Free the Dream 2019. But I tell you what, I know that I'm on the path. I got to continue to do this. There was a reason why I had this vision and this dream that was somewhere in my heart that one day I will host stadium events with tens of thousands of people. And I've been talking about that in some of these interviews that I do. And the reality is some of these people are like, Cliff, seriously, that's a pretty big dream. And I'm like, listen, is there anybody else who's ever done this? Tony Robbins has been doing it for 30 years. There's been other people that have done this. Billy Graham has done stadium events with tens of thousands of people. There are tons of musicians and comedians that fill stadiums with tens of thousands of people. And I had to ask myself the question. Let me tell you, I went through all the imposter syndrome of this dream. Let me tell you, you guys have been hearing me talk about that dream occasionally from time to time publicly since 2016. Well, let me tell you something. There was a year and a half where I didn't even speak those words publicly. I only talked to a couple personal friends. And it took a long time for me to be able to get to the place where I asked myself, why not me? Where did this dream come from? Is it my ego? And it's not. I've checked myself. Is it because of my desire for financial prosperity? Let me tell you something. If it was that, I'd wait until I had financial prosperity to do this without the financial risk. So it's not that. I can tell you, I'm confident God has put me on this earth to do the Free the Dream message, to share it with the world, and to do it in live events. And not just Free the Dream event. There's going to be other events. Stephanie and I are going to do marriage conferences. There's going to be other conferences. But Free the Dream, this message, this is that thing that I know God's called me to do. I've been put on this earth to do it. And I really genuinely believe there are 300 people, which means there's over 200 of you who are hearing my voice or watching this video. There are over 200 of you who are supposed to be in Franklin, Tennessee this year to experience this. Not to hear me talk, not to support my dream. It's not that. There are over 200 of you that I absolutely am convinced are supposed to come to this event. You are supposed to come to Franklin, Tennessee for 2.5 days to get away from the distractions of all the things that have been keeping you from focusing on who you are in this world, from discovering, embracing, and making the decision to live fully the lives for which you were created to live. Over 200 of you still have not yet purchased your ticket. Go today, freethedreamconference.com. Buy your ticket today. I look forward to seeing at least 300 of you in Franklin, Tennessee. Until then, I encourage you to take everything you do to the next level.
Mindset Answer Man.